Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, our UCLA Global Internship Program Political Science Track Info Session. My name is Ana Arellano, and I am the coordinator for the Global Internship Program here at the UCLA Study Abroad Office. So today's presentation will focus why you may be interested in interning abroad. We'll go over the locations where you may be interested in interning, where we could offer you placements, a little overview of the Global Internship Program in general, the application selection and placement process. We have a very brief video to show you. We'll go over some funding options as well as upcoming info sessions. We have two very special guests with us today. They are returnees from our summer 2023 cohort. So we'll share a little bit about their experience, and then finally we'll culminate with a Q&A sessions. If you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to enter them in the Q&A chat or the chat. We'll get to them at the end of the presentation, but feel free to enter as they come along. So why may you want to intern abroad? Why is the Global Internship Program a good program for you? We think there are 5 reasons why you may be interested and why we would encourage you to consider applying for the Global Internship Program. First and foremost, you do gain a competitive advantage in the job market. Having an international experience, whether it be an education, internship, or research experience, that does add a significant amount to your resume that employers do seek. There are transferable technical and soft skills that students do gain on international education opportunities. So having this on your resume does put you on an advantage of those that perhaps did not have that international experience. You do increase your industry knowledge within a global internship or internship in general. Let's say, for example, you're interested in working within government agencies, NGOs, and nonprofits. Having the experience of how to conducting interns, taking on different responsibilities and projects, you gain a better perspective of that respective sector, and perhaps within that sector, paths that we didn't even know existed. So that in itself gives you a better understanding of the career you're hoping to take, as well as the current academics you're focusing at UCLA, which track to focus on in your future endeavors. Number 3 ties into number 1. There are soft and technical skills that we do hope and expect students will gain on the Global Internship Program. That includes your strengthening your communication skills, team building, and adaptability skills. On the Global Internship Program, all students are guaranteed an English-speaking supervisor, but you are within a different location. You are in a different culture. You're in a different environment. So that requires students to adapt, to be flexible, to understand how to complete certain tasks while taking into consideration other people, other customs, other ways of taking into activities. So it's a really good way to just build your skills, and that adds to number 1 of gaining a competitive edge in the job market. What else can you add to your current resume? Number 4, it goes without saying, this is a global internship, so you do expand that global network. Not only will you be having colleagues that are international, but these colleagues could become your friends. You could make friends within other people within that respective internship location, within that placement, within your housing that you're located in. So you are really expanding your global network. Let's say, for example, you are interning in Bogota, Colombia, and you hope to return for graduate school, or you hope to return to eventually work in Bogota, Colombia. You do have that network already built, so it's a really good opportunity to not only expand your network, but expand it globally and maintain those connections. 5, you do make progress towards your academic degree. This is a UCLA study abroad program, so you are making progress. You are receiving UCLA credit, and everything is automatic. This is an advantage of this program, is that it helps you with your academics here at UCLA and hopefully in finishing your degree. So just a very brief overview of the Global Internship Program. This is a summer-only program, and it's for a course of 10 weeks. It follows summer session 8 here at UCLA, and it occurs from mid-June to mid-August. The internship itself is conducted over 8 weeks. While you are conducting your internship, you would be enrolling in an online course for 10 weeks. This online course is what you would be receiving credit for on this program, and I'll dive into a little bit further about the courses specifically. The coursework, all students are required and will be earning 4 units. If you are interested in obtaining more units, there is an optional course, and I'll speak a little bit more further down, where you can earn an additional 4 units. That can bring you up to 4 or 8 units total, depending on your preference. I do want to make a quick note that for our students interested in using the UCLA financial aid to cover the cost of the program, you must be enrolled as a full-time student, which includes the 8 units. So you must be enrolled in 2 courses. This is an academic-only internship, so these are not paid, and we do offer in-country and virtual options. For our students interested in conducting in-person internships, you are expected to intern 32 hours per week. And our students interested in conducting a virtual internship, you may expect to intern roughly 20 to 30 hours per week. So eligibility criteria for our political science track, this program is open to all majors and minors at UCLA, though it is geared towards our political science departments. If you are interested in applying, you must have a 3.0 cumulative GPA and have 90 units by spring 2024. These 90 units can include AP and they can include transfer units. So as long as you have those 90 before the program begins, you are qualified for the program. Academic standing, you must be in good academic standing, and that typically includes having a 2.0 GPA per term. The coursework itself, all students would be enrolling in Poli-Sci 195 CE. This is what will earn you 4 units on the respective program. And for our Poli-Sci majors, this does satisfy one upper division elective course requirements. Like I mentioned, this is mandatory for all students enrolling in the political science Global Internship Program. The optional course that we do offer for an additional 4 units is CSC 130, and it's the Intercultural Communication in the Global Workplace course. So this is really meant to complement your internship. What type of skills can you further develop to communicate effectively with your supervisor, with your colleagues? What type of projects can we incorporate what you currently have done at UCLA, participate at UCLA, and focus that into your internship? So it's really meant to foster that experience. This course does not satisfy any electives. However, it is optional for our students not interested in using their financial aid. Like I mentioned, for students with intending to use their financial aid for the program, you must enroll in both courses, and this is not optional. But mandatory course, Poli-Sci 195 CE. The political science track offers internships in Bali, Berlin, Bogota, Buenos Aires, Cape Town, Prague, Singapore, and virtual. So there's quite a lot of options. Within these locations, we have a variety of career sectors that includes advocacy groups, human rights, social justice. We have government agencies, law, NGOs, and nonprofit, sustainability, and social work. I do want to mention that not all these career sectors are located within each location. So each individual location within that program page, it would explain whether they offer sustainability, whether they offer social work. So just make sure you're looking into those program pages to see what career sectors are available. You'll notice on here that Bogota and Buenos Aires have a blue asterisk. What that means is that certain placements within these locations require a certain level of Spanish-speaking skills. And that's because you may be interacting with members of the community or within the respective colleagues in that environment. If you do not have Spanish-speaking skills, I'd still encourage you to apply. Like I mentioned, it's not a requirement for the program per se, but it's for certain placements. And depending on the advising call that you have, and I'll speak a little bit more about what that is in shortly, that would determine your Spanish-speaking skills and whether or not they can offer you a placement based on that level of Spanish. But otherwise, if you're interested in applying, please go ahead and do so. I hope this does not hinder you in your interest in these other locations. So the application selection and placement process. We have a very brief video, roughly about a minute and a half or so, that will digest a little bit more about when you submit your application, what happens after, and then what you can expect on the internship placements, the interviews, but I'll let the video do the speaking.
The UCLA Global Internship Program. Placement process and timeline. The Global Internship Program offers UCLA students the opportunity to gain a competitive edge in the job market with an 8-week international summer internship. Students receive direct UCLA credit and secure an internship based on their academic, professional, and personal goals. After an application is submitted, the student will interview with our program partners in the host country to assess their qualifications, experience, goals, and discuss possible internship placements. In January, after an extensive review, students are notified of their application status. If accepted, they must submit a non-refundable $300 deposit to secure their spot on the program. In February, students must pay the full program fee or submit a financial aid agreement form. This payment is used to finalize and secure all program logistics, such as housing. This is also the last chance to withdraw from the program without any additional financial penalty. Starting in April and moving into early June, the internship placement process will occur. Our program partners will arrange interviews with local organizations and companies based on each student's individual goals. Students will interview with one host company at a time. Ongoing interviews will continue with prospective internship site managers until there is a match between both the student and the host company. We guarantee all students an international internship placement. Visit ieo.ucla.edu/globalinternships to view our programs, dates and deadlines, funding resources, and more.
The video did a much better job than I would have been explaining this process. It does take quite some time. But what I really want to emphasize in this video is that during the advising call, which is what happens after you submit your application, this is really a really good opportunity for the host company or the host partners that will be hosting you to find out more about your interests, more about your goals. Based on what you're sharing with them, can they provide to you a meaningful internship? So that advising call is very, very important, which is why we want to make sure that when you are submitting your application, and I'll dive into that a little bit further now, you are putting effort into your responses. That way your employers are seeing your most up-to-date skills, as well as your goals and interests. On our program brochures, if you have all had a chance to look at our website relatively within the last couple of days, we do have a section called Sample Internship Placements. Within this page, you would see a handbook if you are interested in viewing that shows previous placement or sample internship companies in their respective location. I do want to highlight that while this is a very good tool to see what type of responsibilities you may have, what type of companies are offered in each location, it is not an exhaustive list of everything that is offered and anywhere you could be placed. There are other companies that are perhaps not listed here just yet. There are perhaps other opportunities that we are going to get this next coming summer. And then I also want to mention that if there's a company here, that doesn't guarantee that that company will also be available for the upcoming summer term. It's just to give you a good sense. It's likely that the company would be there for the next term, but like I mentioned, no guarantees. It's just to give you a good sense of what we offer. This is also a very good tool to decipher or between locations. So let's say, for example, you're very interested in going to Bogotá, Colombia, or Buenos Aires, Argentina, and you're trying to see, okay, well, depending on the placements, where am I most interested in going? Because you're open to both locations. So it's a very good way to kind of narrow down your options if that's the case. Very good tool. I would recommend it. It's a PDF, so you're welcome to download it and just keep it for reference. So how to apply? I hope I captured your interest so far in applying for the Global Internship Program. There would be 2 documents that you would need to submit with your application. First and foremost, that includes your resume. I want to make sure that this is up to date. Please take the time to appropriately format, make sure you're spell checking. The Career Center is a very good place for you to go and just have additional resources that can help you perfect your resume or just give it a second look. There also is VMOC. I believe it's a tool that the Career Center offers. So taking advantage of those resources to help strengthen your resume. This resume will be sent to our program partners to help with the placement process, as well as they will be sent to potential employers. So I want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward. The statement of purpose will also be sent to our host partners for review. So you want to make sure you're taking the time to carefully review your answers and you're putting your responses as sincere as possible. The statement of purpose, each response does have a character limit, and that does include spaces. So you're welcome to just brainstorm these responses separately. There is a PDF within the application that you can download and enter, or you can simply work on a Word document and copy and paste afterwards. But statement of purpose is going to ask your personal introduction, a little bit more about yourself. Where are you interested in interning and why are you interested in that location? Your career goals, why would this internship help foster those career goals? How can it help you? And finally, why should you be selected? Like I mentioned, there are character limits. You want to make sure they're short, make sure you're being as sincere as possible. That would only help us make sure that we're able to guarantee you a meaningful internship. The application is now open, and it is open until November 27th. So it's a very short period. I do want to mention that this is not a first come, first serve application, but you want to make sure that you are applying as soon as possible. The sooner the better. And that's only because of the advising call, the advising session. So after you submit your application, we will be connecting with our partners abroad, the ones that will be placing that internship for you. And then based on that advising call is what they will determine the application, that will continue the application process. But the advising call, if you wait until November 27 to submit your application, for example, it could be that because there's so many people that are applying on the very last day that there's an overwhelming number of students. And because of that, your advising call could be pushed up until finals. So in order to avoid that conflict, want to make sure that you're able to focus on your finals, make sure you're studying, making all that completed. We want to encourage you to apply sooner than later. We want to, of course, make sure you're not rushing your application, but of course, the sooner the better, just to get that advising call out of the way and don't have to worry about it at a later time. And you're also able to enjoy your holidays. Program funding options. So like I mentioned earlier, UCLA financial aid is applicable towards this program. Financial aid includes scholarship, grants, and loans. I want to make a little bit, I want to put an emphasis that financial aid during the summer does tend to be loan heavy. And that's whether it's a study abroad opportunity or whether it's on campus. There are grants that are available during the academic year that are not available during the summer, which is what makes financial aid during the summer more loan heavy. However, the financial aid can cover up to the total cost of your program. So let's say your total cost of the program is $12,000. Your financial aid package will be up to that $12,000. Let's say, for example, it's $6,000 in grants and $6,000 in loans, and you do not want to accept the $6,000 in loans, then you would be responsible for paying that $6,000 out of pocket before the program begins. So just keep that in mind, that how much aid you accept determines how much you would pay out of pocket. In order to receive financial aid, you must complete FAFSA by the 2024, summer 2024, 2025. This is usually by the priority deadline, which typically is the first week of March. On your application, you will be asked if you intend to use financial aid for the program. Please make sure you're paying careful attention to this question. If you indicate yes, you will be prompted with additional documents at a later time in order to complete that financial aid package. If you indicate no, you cannot go back and edit that response, which means you will not receive additional documents, which would not provide you with that financial aid. So just make sure you're paying close attention and indicating yes and no as appropriately. Now, I mentioned this previously, but just a quick reminder, in order to receive financial aid, you must be enrolled in 8 units, which means enrolling in both courses, the Poli-Sci 195 CE internship course and the CSC intercultural communication course, the CSC 130, for a total of 8 units. There are many scholarships that are available, and I strongly encourage anyone who is eligible to apply. This is free money that you do not need to repay. If I'm being quite honest, a lot of scholarships are under applied to. I'm not saying if you apply that guarantees you a scholarship, but it does give you a very good chance. One scholarship I want to highlight in specifically is the UCLA IEO Global Internship Scholarship. This is something that's offered through our office. So what's good about this scholarship is that you're only competing with all global internship applicants. So whereas in other scholarships, you could be competing with UCLA students in general, UC or federal scholarships. This one's only with the UCLA cohort, and that can earn students up to $3,000. We have the CCE internship scholarships provided by UCLA for enrolling in that 195 CE course, European undergraduate study scholarship depending on the location that you're interested in interning. We have middle income scholarships. We have merit identity-based scholarships. So a lot out there, including federal scholarships like the Gilman. On our website under finances and scholarships, we provide those resources, we provide those links, and on there you can see when the applications open and when they close as well. But if you are eligible, strongly encourage you to apply to scholarships. You could apply to more than one. The one thing, if you do apply to more than one scholarship, what I would encourage is not using the same responses per scholarship. In some cases, the scholarship reviewer, it does review multiple applications. So just make sure you're able to customize that response as much as possible. But if they're available, please apply. Perfect. So what I want to highlight is that these internships, yes, you are gaining your knowledge in the industry, you're gaining more skills, you are doing some work with the respective company, but it's not just all work. There's a lot, all of our internship sites include social activities, they include ways to explore the city, the host country. So you want to make sure that you are getting more out of your experience than just interning. You want to make sure that you are learning more about your host country and are able to have fun and able to enjoy your global internship opportunity. Give me one quick, I'm so sorry if you hear my dog in the background. She's getting a little rowdy today. Upcoming info sessions, as you saw, we have many locations available. We have Bali, we have Berlin, Singapore, we have virtual. So because we know that this may be an overwhelming choice, we do have location-specific info sessions that are going to go out until November 9th. So if you are interested in learning more about Berlin, about Prague, and what may differ between one and the other, what the cost would look like, what placements would look like, I strongly encourage you to attend. Just like this session, it will be recorded, but this is a great opportunity to ask questions live with the people who would be placing in those internships, and they live there, so they have that personal perspective of what it's like to live there, intern there, and just have a day-to-day there. So we do have some testimonials. So for example, Max, who participated in our Bogota Summer 2023 program under the political science track, said that more than anything, this program taught him how to go out of his comfort zone in an environment that he was completely unfamiliar with, discovering new places, people, and culture, which is both fun and exciting, but 100% worth it. Figure broad opportunities is a very good way, which I always like to say, it's the best way to be uncomfortable in the most comfortable way possible. So I'm glad Max was able to experience that. We have Janet, who participated on our Prague program, who said that the internship program allowed me to broaden my horizons and truly become a global working citizen. The most valuable skill I have learned was to network and form meaningful professional and personal connections that will last me a lifetime. Like I mentioned, Janet participated in the Prague Summer 2023 program. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and transfer over to our student panel. We have Summer 2023 participants here with us today. And I'll go ahead and start just by saying we have Aiden Earl, who participated in the Ho Chi Minh City program, Internet NFQ Asia, under the political science track. And then we have Nathan Klassen under our political science track as well, who interned in Prague, Czech Republic. So I'll throw it off to y'all. Thank you again for joining us today. I'm hoping we have a good amount of time to ask some questions. So I'll start with Aiden. Aiden, if you can just briefly introduce yourself, the host company where you intern with, and a brief description about the roles that you had.
Yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Aiden. I interned at a company called NFQ Asia, which was a tech company, which was actually kind of cool because originally I wanted to do law when I was in Vietnam, but then the program was really flexible with me when I decided to change my mind, and I was really kind of keen on kind of seeing how tech looked in other countries other than just America or just here in California and Silicon Valley. And the other cool thing about it is my role is I got to intern and be assistant directly to the CEO. And so any big business meeting, anything that went on, I was in that room. I got to hear what he was thinking, what he was saying to everybody. And so for me personally, that was really, really big, just to kind of get that insight to someone who has been successful in their career, and kind of see and kind of pick his brain too. Whenever he does something I don't understand it, I could ask him. Or, even if he gives me a task and I do it, the feedback he gives, I'll be like, oh, okay, like this is how I should do things like that in the future in other workspaces, environments. And now I have that connection forever. And, alongside that, like being in a new place is so cool. Being able to check out like the food, the sites, doing whatever you want. I definitely highly, highly recommend it. And also, just quickly, I want to touch on the finance side of things. Really apply for those scholarships. Not enough people do it. That was the biggest thing that helped me to go on the program in the first place, is I just applied to a lot of scholarships. And when not a lot of other people are applying, you were just more likely to be selected. So definitely go and do that. And if you have any other questions for me, I'm pretty sure my information's up on the website. And so you can contact me and I can answer anything for you guys.
Thank you, Aiden. Nathan?
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Are my AirPods working?
Yes.
Great. Well, hello, I'm Nathan. I'm now fourth year political science major, and I was in Prague this summer on the law, like kind of exclusive internship. All of our internships were in the law field there. I worked with Marketa Hanilova, so self-titled law firm. The main thing was sports law, which was super cool, working in the field of sports, and then also as somebody who does not speak Czech. So I wasn't working on the Czech things. Instead, I was working on the international cases, which was super interesting because the international law working language, it's either English, French, or Spanish. So if you are fluent in any other language, I highly recommend putting that on your resume. I've taken French here. I'm technically proficient in French. We'll see how accurate that is, but I had that on my resume, and I talked to the internship coordinator about it, and it does help your I don't want to say chances, but it does help your application when getting placed somewhere, because it is a useful skill. No, but anyway, I digress. Yeah, so this was my first law internship, so reviewing cases, drafting different legal documents. It was just a great all-around synopsis of what being like a lawyer in the future is like.
Thank you, Nathan. And I'm going to combine two questions in one, and I'll start off with Aiden as well. So can you give us a day and a life as an intern, as well as how you were able to manage your internship with the course, as well as being able to enjoy being abroad?
I mean, so a typical day in the life. I was in Vietnam. The sun rises pretty early, so I'd get up at 8. I'd have to be at work at 9. I get there, and there's a lot of like in the mornings, it was just kind of debriefing. It was kind of talking with your coworkers. I was very lucky because, everyone there spoke Vietnamese except for me, but a good amount of my coworkers spoke English, so they're able to kind of socialize with me. And by about 10 or 11 a.m., I have something I have to do. For example, I would have to make PowerPoints for my boss, and then lunch would come around. Everyone was super friendly where I worked, so you have your friends, you kind of have your little group. You can go out to lunch, have lunch with them, and just kind of talk with them, which is super cool. After lunch, it's just more work. Sometimes it's meetings, sometimes it's writing things. Something I did was they were launching a website and they wanted to be launched in English as well as Vietnamese, so they had me proofread it and then make sure all the English was good. And so it's just whatever task they need for you. And then as far as the coursework kind of goes, one, I'm pretty sure UCLA only lets you work up to 32 hours. And so that's 4 days a week. So you usually get that Friday to just focus on work. Or also you get the whole weekends. So I feel like if you can manage your time well, you can definitely do it. And you still have time to go do all the things you really want to do while you're there.
Thank you, Aiden. Nathan?
Yeah, Dan Lek. All right, so my internship was on the other part of town from where our dorms were. So I had to wake up at 7, and then it took me like an hour to commute over there. But in the morning, so for the first 3 hours, I was like reviewing a case, and I would have to draft either a legal claim or a response to a claim, which was low-key intense, but super cool to actually develop those skills. And then, yeah, lunch, there are a lot of spots, and especially where it was in Prague, you could get a whole meal for $5, and then I'd still have stuff for leftovers. So definitely well worth it. And then after that, it was either working on the task beforehand or doing some in general legal research, which is another good skill to pick up. And then, yeah, since I was on a different side of Prague, because there's a river that cuts through it, it was really cool on my way back. I could stop by somewhere for dinner, meet up with a couple of friends who were also doing the internship. I think the other thing, once I got back, it was a lot of hanging out with the other interns that were there, which was a super great, social networking type stuff, because I'm sure you'll hear people talk about networking, and a lot of times it's professional networking, but at this moment, it was great to be with other university students and just having fun in a different place.
Yeah. I know we're almost at time, but I want to ask two very brief questions. And I'll start with you this time, Nathan. Can you give us some transferable skills that you earned on, you both briefly touched upon it, but some transferable skills that you earned on this internship?
Okay, good question. I probably should have prepared a little ahead of time because I learned so much. I think the first is definitely going out of your comfort zone and almost embarrassing yourself, because Czech is a very hard language. So even trying to pick up a couple words of Czech, that was something that was difficult, but I tried doing it because to just immerse and assimilate. And then I think that's one of the things to kind of just be a little more brave and daunting in my day-to-day life, and just go out of my way to ask for things that really enabled me, especially maybe talking to somebody random on the street, asking if they knew something, if I was lost or if I didn't have data or something like that. I would say that's probably one of the bigger ones, enabling me. But professionally, I developed so many skills, especially in the legal sector. I mean, I already knew how to draft a good email, I'd say, but just the legal documents and how to format it, and then also being very direct with emails, because I think that's one of the things a lot of people struggle with is being firm. So yeah, just that.
Thank you, Nathan. Aiden?
Yeah, the being uncomfortable and learning how to adapt are very huge things, and the biggest things for sure. But outside of that, something very clear cut is that I remember my first day, I got assigned something where he wanted me to essentially write an email, and then I wrote it and I sent it to him, and then my boss kind of responded and was like, "This is not what I asked for." And even though what I had done was verbatim what he asked for, it wasn't, the communication wasn't clear, and I kind of unraveled throughout the time where I realized I need to learn how to ask questions and learn how to do my work properly and do what they're asking from me, which, in that environment was a lot more comfortable to do than, I don't know, if I got like a big boy job in like a big firm.
Yes, that's a great point, and exactly what we were hoping that students are able to gain on this internship, develop the communication skills, be uncomfortable in the most comfortable way possible. So very, very good touch points. Thank you both. I know we're getting close on time, but I want to very briefly mention that if you are interested in learning more, speaking more with Aiden or Nathan or any other of our internships, or student ambassadors, I mean, we do have a GIP student ambassador webpage. Feel free to browse through that. Look, you can browse through academic track, would be political science, whether it be by location, if you're interested in other locations. And you're welcome to connect with our student ambassadors directly, ask specific questions about their experience, what they like, what they didn't like, any recommendations. So that is a tool available to you on our website. And I know we're at time, so if you have any other questions, feel free to send me an email. It's a.arellano@ieo.ucla.edu. I will be sticking around for a couple more minutes if you have any questions. I do see a couple in the Q&A and the chat. Go ahead and stop the recording. But thank you all again for joining. And like I mentioned, I'll stick around for a couple more minutes. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.